Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome back to Foundational Healing with Essential Oils and doTERRA and natural eating and good nutrients and all the amazing things that we need to put into our bodies to experience this amazing health that we are working so hard towards. It's a bit of a tired morning for me, and I hope that everyone is doing well. Thank you again. I'm Avigail Sapir from Zichron Yaakov, Israel. Thank you so much for joining me. And we're really excited to start week 2 of our class together. This week, we're going to talk about does the body really heal itself, and how does it do that? What stops that from happening? What we can do to help it. We're going to save the aromatherapy for next week. I want each week to be a little bit more focused and clear. And last week, we talked about our 10 foundational oils. We've got tea tree and on guard and wild orange and lavender, peppermint, lemon, serenity, air, which is now possibly called easy air in different countries, or still breathe in some countries. Not still breathe, just breathe. Frankincense and zengest. These guys are going to cover about 80% of all the health issues that we're going to face in our life. So I highly recommend to always keep these on hand. You can't go wrong having these anytime for your kids, for your friends, for yourself. They're just must haves. So let's jump right in. Who's going to heal us? What's going to heal us? Medicine doesn't heal us. Pharmaceuticals doesn't heal us. Plants don't heal us. Don't heal us. I heal me exactly. So how does that healing happen? Well, our body, thankfully, amazingly, incredibly, some might say miraculously, but someone had a design. The body is built and designed to heal itself. And this is one of the most amazing aspects of our bodies. And it's only when we get out of balance that we become ill. And if we are normally in a balanced state, we can quickly turn that around. If we're normally in a very imbalanced state, the disease or sickness just gets worse, and the body has an even larger burden to bear. So how are we supposed to support this system if we don't know what's going on? So that's really what we want to talk about here. You see all these little designs on the right-hand side: kidneys and colon, spine and liver, etc., brain, heart, ears. These are parts of our bodies that are always working. Our bodies are always working. Something like 30 to 40 trillion cells in a human body are constantly replacing themselves and regenerating every second of the day. And this is part of that healing process. It's a regeneration. But the question is, if our bodies are designed so perfectly to heal themselves and be a sustainable healing machine, then why are hundreds of millions of adults around the world sick and suffering with chronic pain and disease? And the short answer is that it's partially due to the limits of one's current knowledge, and it's partially due to resources in some locations. A lot of it is due to the lack of motivation that it takes to do the work emotionally and physically to choose a healthy lifestyle. The knowledge part is probably the easiest, and that's what we're doing right here. We are getting a little bit of knowledge that will give us a lot of power. Once we understand that healing happens in a variety of ways, it becomes a little bit easier to work with the body. We've got some choices. Basically, there's a few things that happen. The cells can heal themselves when they become unhealthy, and they replicate to replace damaged or destroyed cells. And like if you break a bone, immediately the body begins to produce new cells to heal that damage. It's the same when your skin gets cut. Immediately the platelets in the blood clot to stop that bleeding and start healing. So this, and also with our immune system, it's also meant to deal with intruders and such as viruses, areas. Some things that help us is mucus in our body traps the toxins and helps flush them out. Mucus actually helps some of the organs to destroy organisms and invaders. And the body can heal and regenerate itself through stem cells as well, which we know starts before a baby is even born. But as that baby grows up, those stem cells turn into adult stem cells, and the embryonic ones disappear. And their descendants, the adult stem cells, are left behind. And these divide, producing a daughter stem cell. And healthy, mature cells of each specific type, they only produce one cell of a specific type. So it's very unique, and they're not immortal. We have these cells have an expiration date, and the longer that we keep them healthy, the longer we will live healthily without breaking down. The old age is kind of a breaking down time, that the thinning of the skin and the wrinkles and the lack of elasticity and the lack of general health and energy, etc. So in order to create this environment, of this supportive environment for the body, there's a couple things that we need to do. We need to reduce toxic intake and enhance toxin elimination, because prevention is worth more than a cure. And as these foreign substances come into our body through various avenues, our body has to flush it out, whether it's a virus, whether it's a disease, a sickness, or a toxin left behind from a chemical or an animal that we ate, or skincare products, or many various things. So only when we understand what the body is trying to do can we really support it in the best way. And so why do these bodies start to fail? Why aren't they just doing what we just shared? Their cells just regenerating every day and just, staying in basically the same. Once you stop growing, why do you start aging? It's like you're going backwards. Why don't we just stay right there? I don't know, about 25, 30 years old, kind of like level out and just plateau there. So the answer is there's many, many things that inhibit the body's natural self-healing functions. And some of these are really obvious, and we're going to talk about them, and some we're still learning about. And this is where, sometimes science can be very helpful, as well as just especially experiential science. We know that our body needs adequate, high quality sleep. It needs healthy foods. We need exercise. And we need the correct information, the correct nutrients, and we need a supportive environment inside our body and outside. So the most dangerous things to us are various types of stress and toxins, and sometimes our mindset. And free radicals is like a huge thing in there. They're toxins, it's a stressor, and it affects our brain. So it's like something that's in there and that we're finding everywhere. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit too. But okay, so just in case we got lost here, what's a toxin? A toxin can be defined as a substance that is synthesized by a plant species or by an animal, by microorganisms, and it is harmful to another organism. So types of chemical, biological, physical, radiation, even behavioral toxicity. So do we have toxins? Do I have toxins? Do you have to, how do we know? So, it's amazing that there's so many can go wrong with someone, and they often all have some similar ways. Our body has some similar ways of telling us that they're there. So we don't always know specifically what it is without a blood test or a lab test. But when we know the general information, that's where our power comes in. Because we know that stress and toxins, mental struggles, all negatively affect our body and kind of create an environment for that supports the growth of disease and sickness. So if we're feeling some of those effects, we know that we have tipped the scale the wrong way and we need to rebalance. It doesn't matter exactly what it is. We just need to rebalance. Now, this is not to say that if there's something wrong with you that you don't go to your doctor and check it out. But for something that you don't feel you need to go to the doctor for and you want to know how to change, this is how you're going to understand how to do it. If you're experiencing anything that you see here on the screen, you are experiencing the side effects of toxicity, of stress, cellular stress, of system stress. So where do these toxins come from? Let's probably talk about that and see, because this is one of the things. If we want to get rid of something anywhere, we kind of have to know where it's coming from. So as you can see with this picture here, a lot of the things that we're using and that the world uses in general. Now, some of these brands are very specific to countries, but you get the general idea. If it's a man-made chemical, then it is toxic. And even if it says non-toxic on it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not toxic. It means that that company, they have been tested, and there's a certain level of toxicity that the ministries of health will allow, that they will say, well, if you have up to this percentage of toxicity in it, it's still in a safe level. I don't, what is their version of safe? It won't kill you. Well, it has killed some people. So we don't even need to get into all the details of that, or who's to blame, or like, are the standards correct, or anything like that. We just need to understand chemicals, bad for us. No chemicals, good for us. We're talking about man-made chemicals. There are some chemical properties of plants are very important, but we're talking about these kind of chemicals and these kind of chemicals. Okay, this is stuff that we put on our skin, and our baby skin, and in our hair, and there's more. This is, not even a drop in the bucket. So we understand toxins bad, man-made chemicals bad. We don't want this. It's detrimental to our health. So let's talk about, and we can also, talk about food and the chemicals in food and the processed food, et cetera, et cetera. These all leave toxic residue in our body. So, but what happens there? How does this happen? Where does it go? And what does it do? So toxins can damage nearly any organ or system. There's almost nowhere it can't reach. And people, in the past used to think that only somebody that was like a factory worker or a coal miner would be detrimentally affected by chemicals and toxins. But we know that this isn't true anymore. We know that there's at least 8 basic ways that toxins damage everyone. And they come from our food and from our skincare and our hair care, and sometimes even health items in the stores, processed food, junk food, et cetera, et cetera. Everything that you can think of that is not natural and clean and simple. So we really don't want to be we don't want to be hurt and damaged by these toxins. We get them through if we try to detox our body to get rid of the toxins, and it's so full of toxins, there's kind of an overload, and then the body has a harder time to detoxify itself when it's overloaded. It's not like the bucket is full and you go, I'm going to detox now, and it just dumps out. It's like the sponge gets filled with gunk. So instead of the water kind of just really regularly dripping through it, it just stops. I think that's probably the best analogy that I can come up with. When we're overloaded with toxins, it's like, because look at our kidneys and our liver, they're high water concentration. Our liver is like 98% water. It's like a sponge full of water. But if the toxins get in and don't get flushed out, there's a buildup, and it gets gunky and it's full and it's sticky. Nothing's going through there. And so there are certain things that we can do, like coffee enemas. It's kind of like squeezing that that sponge for a quick release, which makes it a little bit, jump back to life a little bit more, have a little bit more space to absorb more, and maybe the flow will be a bit better. And there's a lot of other things that we're going to talk about as well. Toxins can weaken our bones. They can damage all of the organs. They can damage our cellular metabolism. They can modify our genes. Toxins can modify our genes. I mean, everybody, is talking about gene modification, this and that right now. And, this will do it to you and that'll do it to you. And no, it won't. But toxins themselves do it. When the toxin damages the gene, it can suppress it in undesirable ways, so that in the future, the genes won't be as healthy that you pass on to your children and that they pass on to their children. Toxins can damage the cell membrane, so that the cell can't respond properly. Now, we have trillions of cells in our body. Can you imagine the damage that this is doing over a long period of time? And even if someone says, well, I've lived a basically great life, I'm 75 and I've got health issues and this and that, like, what's the big deal? Well, for some people, the big deal is kind of small. It's the difference between living maybe 30, 40 years longer in top of the line health and physical, independent condition, or dying around 80 with some negligible health issues, let's say. Okay, for some people, that's okay. Some people don't want to live longer. They're exhausted. Life's been hard. But others, it means their life at a very young age, or terrible health issues that they struggle with, terrible mental, emotional issues, traumatic and debilitating. So we can't always know what it's going to turn into. Those people that lived to a relatively older age in relatively good health, we say they've got good genes. What does that mean? It means that their genes haven't been as damaged as others who are struggling greatly at even much younger ages. So toxins also interfere with hormones. They inhibit, mimic, block hormones. And a great example is arsenic disrupts thyroid hormone receptors so that the cells don't get the message from the hormones that that cause them to rev up metabolism. And so the result is a really inexplicable fatigue. You don't know what's going on. Okay, and toxins can also impair our ability to detoxify, which is the first thing I said. And this is one of the worst things of all because our body is constantly trying to detoxify itself because it wants to be a perfectly working machine, the way it was, designed to be. So the more work we give it to do, the harder it is for it to do its the very basics of its job. So we want to help our body in this process and learn how to take better care of ourselves. Wow, my screens are just, there we go. Okay. Here's just a quick look at the difference between being in a toxic state versus a state of detox, a strengthened and healed immune system. And when we feel this, as opposed to that slide before where we saw all of the side effects, yesterday was our bucket full of inflammation. And here today, are we overloaded with toxins? The muscle aches and the exhaustion and the brain fog and body odor and constipation, stubborn weight, irritability, etc. Those are the things that we don't want to feel and that we don't want to focus on. If someone's coming to you and talking about how bad they feel all the time, guess what? They're just going to continue feeling more of that because it's like, by giving attention to that, it's like you're supporting it. You're giving it some power, saying, yeah, I acknowledge you. I see you. You're there. I get it. I don't want you there, but you're there and I see you, and you're there and I see you. And we want to be like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I see you. I don't want to see you. Bye. And we're going to turn a different direction, focus on bringing a lot more non-toxic influences into our life so that we can feel like this. We want to have increased energy. And then we want to be like, oh, yeah, hey, I see you. Right on. Radiant, glowing skin. Yes, ma'am. I need more of that. Thank you very much. A stronger immune system. This is amazing. Bring it on. Let's do more of that. Let's strengthen my immune system even more. My mood is stable. I want it high. Let's do that. This is awesome, right? So you can see even on an energetical level in a Zoom call, the difference that one can feel even just talking about it. So just a couple more things, some what do you call it? Benefits, right, of detoxing. It's just everything that we do want to feel. We want to feel light and easy, and like when we eat a meal, it gets digested right away, and everything that doesn't serve us gets released through the elimination system. And so that's what a detox does. It removes the toxins from the liver and kidneys so that it can do that. It helps to clean out the gut and the colon so that we have a healthy GI tract, so that all the waste just flows right through very easily with a little bit of mucus, not with an overloaded mucus system. When we have too much mucus production in our body, it doesn't help the organs anymore. It invades them, and it reduces their ability to function, and it fills every cavity that it can find anywhere. And it's a breeding ground for viruses and parasites and toxins, and it holds it's a storage place for toxins. We don't want extra mucus. So anybody that's struggling with that, like if you lay on your tummy and you've got a full head afterward, you've got way too much mucus producing in your body, and you need to look at do a search on the internet for a mucus-free diet. You're going to look for comprehensive list of foods on mucus-free diet, something like that. And then you'll get a whole long list of all the foods that you can eat that do not produce extra mucus in your body. And you'll be surprised at some of the ones that do, like certain nuts, um, like cashews and things that are kind of moist and can easily mold will often produce more mucus in our body. Corn can be a huge mucus producer for you. And so it's not that you just have to completely change your life, but look these things up, put that list up on the refrigerator. And when you go shopping, search for those foods, fill yourself with them. And then if you still have some cookies and you still have some meat and milk and etc., it's not going to overwhelm your body. You're going to be able to easily flush it out. Okay, so detoxing is an incredible way of keeping our system functioning and ready for use. It's really just the same as cleaning out a juicer after you juice some vegetables. Really, that's like an amazing example. That just, yeah. If you don't clean out that juicer, what happens the next time? You get less juice, and then pretty soon it's stuck. You're not getting anything good out. So we just need to really focus on what we do want to accomplish in our body. And this is the most important thing. And it doesn't matter where you are in your health wellness journey, whether you're incredibly new to this idea of working naturally in harmony and teamwork with your body, or if you're in a very experienced, if you're like eating raw vegan for many years and teaching classes and bodybuilding vegan and stuff like that. It doesn't matter whether you're the healthiest person you know or the very sickest person you know. We have to focus on the result that we do want. Because everything that we can think right now in less than a second is already the past. So if we are constantly focusing on the reality we do not want to see, whatever we're focusing on is like an investment for the future. We're putting our attention to it. And so our energy is going to go towards that, even subconsciously. And we're going to do things subconsciously, we're going to do things to support the theory about ourselves. So let's focus on a really healthy elimination system. And this is one of the things I tell all of my clients who want to get started on any kind of wellness journey. This is the key to our health and wellness. If we have a clean elimination system, we have a body that is able to flush away all the things inside of itself that are not serving it, that don't work, that aren't good for it. We have a clean elimination system. It means that our gut health is steady. If our gut health is stable and really positive, it means that our mind has a much better chance of being clean and positive as well. The gut health is directly linked to mental and emotional issues and struggles and stability as well. So I think we already discussed what the big deal is about detoxing and how incredibly vital it is. And so these are the main systems that we want to work on detoxing. We want to detox our blood, our liver, our colon, our kidneys, our lymph, our skin, and our lungs. I'm so sorry. And there we go again. Hit the wrong button. So, but just remember, detox is not something that we do to our bodies. It is something that our bodies do to or for us. And there's no food or product or herb that detoxifies detoxifies your body. Only the body itself can do that action to clean itself up. What the food and products and herbs do is support that natural action. It's like putting gas in your car instead of salt in the gas tank. If you put salt in the gas tank, it doesn't serve the car, and the car has no way to get rid of it. So but our body is like, oh, too much salt. Yikes, that's bad. Get rid of it. Quick, quick, quick. Flush it out. So we're incredible. And that not only are we, do we want to detox? I started that wrong because it doesn't make much sense that way. We want to detoxify these 7 systems that I just showed you because these are the systems that the body uses to detoxify itself. So this is our start. This is why this is foundation. This is the very, very bare minimum of good health. Now, a quick example of what detoxification does for the body is it produces a rebalancing act. So you don't need to go on a diet. You need to rebalance. You're just out of balance. You're a little bit too much here, not enough here. So what happens when you go on a diet is that you take out you take out the fat from the body that it was storing, but you don't necessarily take out the toxins. And why is the fat there? Fat is storing these toxins for us so that our body is not overwhelmed and starting to break down, cannot function anymore because of the detrimental effect of these toxins could have to us. And so we get fatter and fatter and fatter to kind of store these toxins further and further away from, vital places. Now we diet and we get skinny, but we're still toxic, highly toxic. You can get really sick. And either way, even if you still try to eat pretty healthy after the diet's over, you're going to gain that weight back if you're toxic, because the body has to have a place to store it so that you don't get sicker. So long story short, detox instead of diet. When we detox, we get rid of the toxins. The body no longer needs the fat, and so it releases it. It doesn't serve it anymore. And this is one of the things that I want us to have as a focus. We have everything that we need, and so we want to release everything that does not serve us, that isn't doing something good for us. And you know what? It doesn't happen just in our bodies too. We can do it in all of our lives. And this time now before Pesach is a really perfect time when everybody's doing their spring cleaning and getting stuff out of their homes and opening up those corners and cleaning them out. Let's take this time as we come into spring to really clean house, clean our body house, clean our mind house, clean our physical house. And clean up the community around us. Pick up trash outside. There's so many things that we can do to bring about a rebalancing. And we don't need to look at what anybody else is doing. We just need to start doing it ourselves, and others will follow. And it gets really exciting. So one of those ways that we're going to clean our house, our physical house, is with the Cleanse and Restore Kit from doTERRA. Now, this is a very, very gentle but highly effective cleanse. Remember when I told you that if you're too toxic, that when you try to detox, it kind of backfires because that sponge is too full of gunk and you can't get anything through it. So how do we get the toxins out? Well, if you do a really strong detox, a really heavy one, it dumps more toxins onto that sponge, and it can't do anything about it. So it just shuts down. Okay, so when you come from a different approach, this GX Assist here, bottom left corner, this is going to help move things through the colon, which is going to give more space for the elimination organs to release more waste out. The Terrazyme, this is going to break down the food that you eat and possibly that we didn't chew well enough into a complete liquid so that the body has less work to do. So it has more energy to spend on cleaning. PB Assist, our probiotics, the prebiotics and the probiotics. So it's going to stay in the gut and go in, it's going to stay in the stomach and go into the gut. This is going to help balance the flora. And as the more balance we have, the more things work better, right? Think about when your car's out of alignment and your steering wheel is turned all the way to the right and you're still driving straight. So what we're doing is we're realigning that steering wheel to also be driving straight so that we're not like, kind of like twisting all over the place, trying to get somewhere and really ending up off in the boondocks. Zendocrine just goes in there and directly assists all the body's natural detoxification process. So it just helps whatever's struggling, it just goes in there and assists it. Lemon is a natural cleaner. It's an astringent. It helps to clean things out along the way and to break things down. DDR prime is our cellular support. Remember how I said toxins can damage cells? So these 40 trillion cells that are being regenerated every day with terrible information are going to get weaker and weaker, and our children and our grandchildren, the future generations, will have more and more problems. So as we take the DDR prime, this helps those 40 trillion cells to regenerate with better information in better health every single time. So that instead of our generations breaking down and degenerating, they're going to get stronger and stronger, and they're going to be more powerful, more healthy, live longer, possibly even be taller. They're going to have a better chance of using all of their physical and mental and emotional potential. Now, the Lifelong Vitality Pack down there at the bottom is our very favorite products from doTERRA. In fact, I believe it's the #1 selling product in doTERRA, not essential oil, but this Lifelong Vitality Pack. What is it? It's all of our vitamins, all of the nutrients that we need, all of our omegas, antioxidants. Now, why antioxidants so important? It cleans out those free radicals and it helps to heal the damage that the free radicals did. And the free radicals, are those toxic things that we're getting from the chemicals and smoking and alcohol and junk food and all of that. So, and this pack of 3, this comes in the kit, but that pack exactly is something that we're going to take every day, probably for the rest of our lives. And unless we're able to completely rebalance this world and its soil and nutrients and all of that wonderful utopian, those utopian dreams that we do have. But in the meantime, we're just very, very grateful that doTERRA has been able to come up with this incredibly, even medically and scientifically balanced formula to get us our cellular vitality and antioxidants and our omegas and all of the vitamins and minerals that we need, that our body needs every day, that we're not able to get from the soil anymore. So here's an idea, whether you're a vegan or not, here's some great ideas for you to take to the grocery store. Now, the thing is that I would caution about pistachios. They will create mucus for some people. And there's some things in the proteins that, if we can stay away from meat, it's really important. This is very damaging to our bodies. Parasites, you can't get rid of the parasites from the meat. It doesn't matter how well you cook it. And if they're not organic, if those animals didn't have incredibly happy, free, bouncy, perfect lives, they have stress hormones and chemicals, and the other growth hormones and et cetera that that they're injected with in their bodies for you to take in and then try to process out again. It's just not worth it. And unless we're in a situation where we're starving, if we don't have meat, because we have no access to other kinds of food, it's just the damage that it does to our body is not worth the joy that one might have from eating it, whether it's socially at barbecues or just because you love sushi. The damage to our body, if we're really committed to this idea of completely and honestly supporting our body in its function very purely, then we have to be very honest about whether what we're putting into our body is supporting it or damaging it. The environment, the people we surround ourselves, that we talk to, that we allow ourselves to interact with, are they supporting our wellness journey? Are they supporting our way of life mentally, emotionally, and physically? Or is it something that's actually dragging us down? Are they very negative people that bring us down emotionally? The emotional health will affect the gut health, as will the gut health affect the emotional health. So just remember these three things. Well, let's start. In order for us to have this healthy body, we need to focus on reducing our toxic intake and increasing our toxin elimination. So in order to do that, we need to focus on our elimination system, making sure it's clean, balanced, and working properly. And then we need to look at our mental and physical health and make sure that we're supporting all of the healthy functions in our body in the best way possible, which will in turn support the mental and emotional health. So week 3, we're actually going to introduce how to detox the elimination organs. And I haven't decided yet whether we're going to do 1 week per organ or not. And I'm kind of thinking we will, because instead of leaving all the emotional health for our last session, I want to mix it in, and I want to talk about how the emotional health is related to each organ and system that we're detoxing. I think it's really interesting, and it just gives us a better sense of ourselves and how we're functioning. And as we go through this process, we just become more and more in touch with ourselves and trusting ourselves, knowing ourselves and trusting ourselves. When we see one little thing, we feel one little thing, we know exactly, oh, okay, I need to watch that because it's connected to this, or I'm struggling with this. So I can address the problem by dealing maybe with this instead. Like, let's say my liver is struggling, so I need to go get some anger management, or I'm feeling unusual amounts of anger. All of a sudden, what's happening? Okay, why don't I just go do a coffee enema, get my liver kind of have a release and calm down a little bit, and we'll see. Like, maybe that will bring my, help to balance my mood again. It almost always does. So it's all connected. We can't get away from that. It's all connected. And once we are able to really not just believe that, but accept it and see it, it's really powerful. And we deserve to have as many choices and as much, control is not a great word, but control over our lives, say in our lives. We don't like that feeling of life happening to us. We want to make our life happen. We want to create a good future. We want to have choices. We want to be able to say, I'm doing this, I'm going that way. And good health is a huge part of that. And it also makes a huge difference in our relationships, in our team, in our doTERRA team, and how we relate to each other, in our friendships, in our romantic relationships, in our families, in our communities. our health affects everyone around us as well, not just ourselves. So thank you so much for joining me this week. I looks like I only got 12 minutes shaved off of this week, and I'm trying to work it down to 30 minutes. So, and once I do that, I'm going to have um, a recorded course, professionally recorded course. And so thank you for your patience as we work through this and get only the most important information, get it streamlined so it's very effective and efficient, and you've got all the information you need to go forward and make a better life for yourself. So I'm signing off week 2 in love and light. I'll see you next week as we begin to talk about each elimination organ and system and what we can do to support it better. Have a wonderful day, everyone. And please, if you have questions and comments and testimonies, please send them to me afterward. I'm making separate recordings to answer all of those, and they will be posted on the website or sent to certain individuals, depending on the sensitivity of its nature. Okay, have a great week, and I will see you next time. Stay healthy.